This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We are live in Abuja. I'm Hawa Salihu Adaman. Remember that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. Our starting point today is the education sector, as the Senate has urged the National Universities Commission to get involved in resolving the conflict between ASUU and federal government for students to return to their classes. This was when the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund visited the Commission on an oversight in Abuja. Mobolaji Omobirin completes the report.
The indefinite strike action of the Academic Staff Union of Universities has continued to receive attention from the legislative arm of government. Again, the Senate committee set aside to oversight the education sector is at the National Universities Commission to hear their view on the negotiation procedure.
For you and the commission who assigned it to university to negotiate with us to come out clearly and tell us the truth about those claims, the claims of the ministry against the claims of the ASUU.
The commission has this to say.
We do anything to contribute. The secretary, we just want to we choose one of our officers to work with the South Ministry of Education. And all the issues as they review them, they get back to the minister, and the minister gets back to the government at the highest level.
Please ensure that the universities come back on stream. That is a national call, and that is a huge chunk of your responsibility.
The committee also visited the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, in Abuja. Mobolaji Moribiri, NTA News.
And there have been persistent calls for a paradigm shift in the governance structure and funding model of public universities against the backdrop of recurring challenges with the funding of tertiary education in the country. Discussing the subject matter on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, academics were of the opinion that the federal government should allow public universities exercise true autonomy and concentrate on providing grants and scholarships. Ekemini Williams completes the report.
At the heart of the incessant crisis and the recurring instability in tertiary institutions in Nigeria, which has culminated in the present industrial action by university lecturers. Discussants on the program, who were essentially from the university community, described the present governance and funding model in public universities as archaic.
We seem to still rely on the 1960s thinking that university education should be free. University education system everywhere around the world is not free.
We really need to sit down and say, let us look at our governance models and see whether it's working for us in this age where knowledge has become so critical to national development.
When you look at private universities, they have board of trustees, which is on top of the governing council. So if the proprietor establishes a university, he will constitute a board of trustees and he will hands off. He will be doing his businesses, anything to do with the university, it doesn't come to him at all. So why should the federal government not constitute a board of trustees? Or maybe allow the NUC to constitute a visitation panel to any university, overlook whatever is happening with the governing councils, and then whatever is happening will end up with the NUC.
And the one that is suitable for our environment is the one that takes care of majority of the students, because we have a situation where majority of our potential students are from very poor background, that they may not be able to finance their education at the tertiary level. Looking at the capacity of the parents and the environment they are coming from.
To address the funding gap, which is causing the deterioration of all facets of the higher education system, they preferred suggestions such as proper autonomy for public universities and transparency in the appointment of vice chancellors, among others.
Government should remove its hands from the issue of running the university. It should focus on scholarships, bursaries, and of course grants to the university based on whatever criteria. Secondly, the federal government and state government should focus on maybe establishing an educational bank where students can go and take loans, and these loans can be repaid. We heard very clearly that Obama, the president, he couldn't pay his loans until he was even president.
The discussants again stressed the imperative for ASUU and the federal government to reach a compromise to bring the present impasse to an end. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA.
And we are not done with ASUU, as stakeholders are appealing to the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, to, as a matter of urgency, find the common ground and resolve the impasse between them in the interest of Nigerian students. This was while reacting to the prolonged strike by university teachers in Akure, Ondo State. Tony Battery has that.
Early this year, precisely February 14, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, embarked on indefinite strike to resume negotiation on 2009 agreements with the federal government. While a series of meetings and negotiations between them have been deadlocked, the over 6-month-old strike and continued extensions have left classrooms deserted.
When the strike started, I was not happy. How can I accomplish the plan that I have for this year?
Fine, they had an agreement which has not been fulfilled, but I don't see a situation where a worker will be dictating the terms of payment of his salaries to the employee. Why should they say they don't want to be on IPIS?
The impasse is getting prolonged more than necessary, and that has a kind of negative impact on the undergraduates.
According to the respondents, ASUU, it must realize that the students and their parents are at the receiving end.
In my home state of Ondo here, our state does not have problems with our universities. It's quite unfortunate they have to join this present strike when the government is not even knowing them. It's quite unfortunate. I'm just looking at a situation where we are just going to decentralize and democratize this ASUU thing. Let the management of every university handle their own peculiarities.
I want to suggest that since there is no solution in view, the federal government could do something.
They therefore called for an alternative resolution of the dispute instead of the continued industrial action. In Akure, Tony Battery, NTA News.
Okay, we are not done with education, as today is World Letter Writing Day, a day to commemorate the importance of the art of writing letters and its essence for maintaining human connections. The day also encourages people worldwide to pick up a pen, grab a piece of paper, and write a letter. However, in this digital age of texting, emails, and social media, letter writing has become an unusual practice. NTA sought the views of some Nigerians on the recollections of letters written either to them or those written by them.
I'll be 50 years old on November 15. I've never heard of a letter writing day. I've lived in Abuja for 40 years, and we have the post letter. We had a PO box. I still know it's a PO box 70. Area 10. I don't know if the PO box is existing.
I don't personally write letters that much because this is a social media age and people mostly use their devices to send text messages on long distances. So letter writing, I don't feel like it's needed.
The advent of social media have actually reduced the informal letters, but formal letters today we still write, such as applications, letters to organizations or to individual, as the case may be, as far as it's official.
The technology has taken off post office.
most of the things that post office normally does are being done by individual on their computer, on the media, and some other things. Even messages are sent through Twitter, through WhatsApp, and so many other means.
Subvision letter writing, it should not be in letter writing. You should not use abbreviation. Just give your letter straight.
Okay, and joining me in the studio to shed more lights on letter writing today is Malam Habu Mohammed Zoka. He's the Deputy Director, International Relations of the NIPOS. You're welcome to Nationwide.
Thank you very much.
The art of letter writing has been with mankind for generations. Do we still write letters?
Well, we still write letters, but of course, what type of letters? There is a formal letter and there is informal. The formal letters are still going on as it used to be, but the informal letters, of course, with the advent of technology, the social media, at least that one has gone down drastically. It is an art that has left us, and of course the present generation we are having, I don't know how it will be in terms of developing their intellects and talent for writing, because in those days when you write letter is an avenue for your parents to assess you, your teachers to assess you, but where do we find ourselves now? That one is not happening again, and that's why if you look at some texts, you see students or the youthful population, even adults now, you see some abbreviations that you cannot understand.
Shortcuts.
Shortcuts, yeah. And to write applications, there are also issues now, and it is because we have left the art of letter writing. Letter writing develops the individual, so that when you grow into the society, you'll be able to marshal the art of writing, not just letter, but memos, put your idea, your thoughts, in writing, and communicate your feelings and the rest of it.
Okay, I'm just wondering, with our current reality, when does NIPOST come in? Because instead of writing a letter that would take maybe 2 days or even a week to get to its destination, I can as well just send a text message or an email. When do you come in?
Well, NIPOST comes in because, as I told you, there are formal letters going on, that is one. And two, there are still some few that still write the letters, because as I said, it's a mode of expression, and when you send the letter, the joy the person that receives the letter has when he has the letter and is reading, and it's something you can keep for a long time to revive it. So NIPOST is still relevant. There is a preponderance of business letters now, which are either in hybrid or in the physical form, that NIPOST still delivers. So in terms of writing letters, of course, NIPOST is still relevant, but not the informal letters.
Okay, I know that one thing that is constant in life is change.
Sure.
Considering where we are today, is NIPOST re-strategizing to ensure that you fit in to address this issue in a special way, I would say?
Yes, NIPOST has been championing letter writing competition.
Okay.
As an agency of government in Nigeria, and also the umbrella body of the post in the world, Universal Postal Union, UPU, every year sends out themes for students to compete in letter writing. So the world over, schools are contacted, they write letters, the letters will be marked right from the country level, and then those that emerge on the country level will be sent to the UPU. Then on the continental level, it will be assessed and winners will emerge. And of course, prizes are given. That is one of the ways to still motivate letter writing in the youthful population.
Okay.
Yes.
As we mark this day today, what will be your final word towards reviving this culture that is so old and still relevant in a way?
Yes, my final word is that the government should play a role to emphasize the art of letter writing by bringing up competitions so that students will compete largely. Two, apart from the government, also as a social responsibility, non-government sectors should also encourage the art of letter writing as other competitions, are being encouraged, maybe in sports, in music, and the rest of it. Because if we leave this letter writing to die, in the nearest future, perhaps we may not have people to sit in the office and write memos. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Abu Mohammed Zoka, Deputy Director, International Relations of the Nile Post. Moving on, I understand Hingino is ready for us in Lagos. Hingino, when was the last time you wrote a letter? Handwritten.
Can't remember. When was the last time you read a letter too? Thank you, Hawa. Mixed reactions have continued to trail the ban on commercial motorcycles, popularly called Okada, in former local government areas by the Lagos State government. Correspondents who monitored activities in some of the affected areas reports that there is full compliance. Following the success recorded on the ban on Okada across 6 local government areas, Etiosa, Ikeja, Surulere, Lagos, a drive through some major roads and streets in the areas indicated a high level of compliance on the ban. A cross-section of residents in the areas described the ban as a welcome development, but not without reservations.
The ban, on one side, is for the safety of people. On the other hand, people are taking it, bringing their children. But if you want to reason for the safety of people in Lagos or in these local governments.
So when we look about the around the area now, we know that there's any Okada rider along the local government. So these are our local government advocating.
The way they injure themselves here is alarming and is not encouraged. So, but stopping them, government should also make provision for them to survive.
Meanwhile, the Lagos State government has revealed that its ban on Okada riders has recorded 85% compliance in its enforcement and will continue so as to ensure the sanity of the environment.
The decision and position of government on Okada is very clear. And we are not compromising on the decision, which is to further consolidate on the achievements made so far, with particular reference to decrease in accident and crime rate, as well as the return of sanity to our community within the state.
Although the state government has ascribed reduction in criminal activities and low rate of accidents on Lagos roads on the ban on Okada, observers are of the opinion that there is urgent need to completely ban the activities of Okada riders in order to save lives. The federal government is revalidating certification to continue enjoying export rights of shrimps and allied products caught in the wild to the United States market. And that's a prelude to re-accreditation. Technical inspection team from the US is assessing the level of compliance of operators with the Total Excluded Devices program. Michael Olale has details.
Although the prospects in the shrimp market is huge, with projection giving a positive outlook of $54.6 billion by 2027, but the interest of the global community is the protection of endangered sea species, while trade also flourishes. This informed the drawing up of Turtle Excluded Device program, since sea turtles are usually victims during seafood hunting. The Department of Fisheries has been strengthening dockside inspection of vessels on return from sea to monitor the installation and use of turtle excluder device on shrimps. This exercise is in keeping up with the accreditation provisions after the success of 2019. The team, consisting of Jared Milton from the U.S. Office of Marine Conservation and Adol Blake Prince of Fisheries Biologists, carefully examined vessels to ensure that the gears meet up with specifications. The Director of Fisheries said the program is important to government's quest for sustainable ecosystem.
The third implementation is therefore an aspect of conservation tools directed towards improvement or sustenance of a marine ecosystem, and it is productivity value of our fisheries production.
Business operators like Marina Samuel are optimistic that sustained endorsement will enable the country expand its shrimp market, presently valued at $50 million annually.
Most of the customers we meet, they say Nigeria has the best shrimps in the world. The problem we have is we don't have enough vessels to, carry out more exports.
When concluded, the Turtle Excluder Devices TEDS program will enable the country to expand its global export of shrimps by 2 years. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen. Time now for a break. Ibadan will be our next stop after that.
Harmony of biodiversity restored, both in climate crisis and crime basis.
Dicey situation indeed, yet we carry on like a bull in a china shop.
On environment matters, we take the bull by the horns, comb the nooks and cranny of Nigeria.
Asking tough questions,
examining challenges and opportunities,
giving human face to the science, facts, facts, and global agreements. It's a call for action. Don't miss it.
Join award-winning environmental journalist Jennifer Igwe and other NTA Eco reporters for Environment Matters.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
It's life. Once you lose hope, you lose life.
Once people get lifted to a certain level, they start feeling godlike.
What would you attribute this backwardness in education to in the not to date?
I think what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
The program is reflection.
Thanks for rejoining us. It's still nationwide. And moving on here, the House of Representatives has urged government agencies responsible for revenue generation, collation and monitoring to improve on mandates in order to bring down the 11.3 trillion naira projected deficit for 2023. It was when the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Hamid Ali, appeared before the Finance Committee to present the revenue profile of the service. We will bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. And participants to the 6th International Culture Summit in Edinburgh, Scotland, were hosted to a civic reception by the Laird of Edinburgh City, Right Honourable Robert Aldridge, at the City Chambers. Anthony Forson completes the report.
Heart of a city founded in 1437, the city chamber still wears its old look with all fittings still intact. Among the dignitaries invited for the reception is Nigeria's Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed. Right Honorable Robert Aldridge said the idea of the latest innovation into the festival and summit series is preparing
future. I was welcoming the fact that the summit wanted to hear the voices of young people, and because they're the ones who are going to inherit whatever it is we shape in the future.
This is a place where many different cultures and many different artists from different cultures come. Cultures from Africa are welcome, celebrated. Cultures from Asia, Europe, North, South America. This is a place that prides itself on really, truly being international in its generosity and the scope of its cultural, its artistic appetite.
It speaks to diversity and tolerance. Every year, millions of people come to Edinburgh because they believe in a society which is free, where they are treated as equal, even when they are different. And that's the lesson of the festival. You connect people more through culture than any other thing. And that has created a huge economy for Edinburgh.
The Edinburgh International Cultural Summit is a biennial ministerial forum established in 2012 by the Edinburgh International Festival in partnership with the British Council. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
And back home, the National Population Commission says it is working with principles and recommendations for a population and housing census in line with international best practices to produce census figures expected to receive wide acceptance. The leadership of the NPC gave this hint at separate meetings with an elder statesman, Chief Edwin Clark, and top management of the National Youth Service School in Abuja. Olusheye Adeabu completes the report.
Programs in Nigeria have always benefited from the support of many, but its figures often provoke an outcry as well as some rejection. National Population Commission is getting set for a new population and housing census scheduled for April next year and has since been engaging with relevant actors, promising to make the exercise all-inclusive.
So we're more worried now. Then when you hear every year that our population is now 150, the following day 160, the day they are now we are now 230.
We want the general elections to be concluded, results announced,
before we embark on the main census. By so doing, we are removing the process and the outcome of census from any politics.
Meanwhile, core members will now be enlisted as ad hoc staff for the 2023 census, especially elections, and the academic status explains how relevant they can be to the 2023 census, hence this partnership.
You have a very big task ahead, and your ability to come out with a very credible census is very, very important. That's why each and every one of us must put head together, support this scheme for the achievement of a credible census.
While worried over the challenge of census data on Nigeria's population, which has hampered planning for national development, these players are promising to support the 2023 census. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
And it's about that time of the year known as the Ember Months where increased activities of motorists are expected. The FRSC in this regard is putting in place measures to mitigate crashes and death that may occur during and beyond the Yuletide. Over now to Charles Alpha.
Road crashes and death occur around every year, but the degree of occurrence in the month popularly called the Ember Months, September to December and sometimes January, present dreadful experience because of heavy movement of vehicles. Demands, responsibilities ultimately constitute rush on the highways by motorists and consequently road accidents and fatalities. The Federal Road Safety Corps is not waiting for this to happen and has come up with ideas of mounting Ember Month special patrol and taking mega public enlightenment, aggressive rallies and logistics to motor parks.
Towards this exercise, we embark upon elaborate studies along the identified black spots to determine the immediate and remote causes of the grid loss, mobilize relevant stakeholders to collectively address the challenges and embark on public enlightenment programs.
The Corps is also intensifying special enforcement operations on unregistered motorcycles nationwide and says it won't spare those using them to create problems on the highway.
This standard has become more necessary at this critical time of our national development, due largely to the manner with which criminals have conducted.
The Federal Safety Corps, as part of its plans, will be working with sister agencies to mitigate intake of hard drugs by motorists during the period. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Staying with the roads, the federal government says it is upgrading facilities at the Onne Seaport in Rivers State to attract more patronage. The Minister of Transportation, Muazu Jaji Sambu, while inspecting the terminals at the port, says besides the completion of the road leading to the port, all the necessary infrastructure will be provided. He says federal government is committed to decongesting the Lagos seaports by opening up other ports across the country. The Yobe State Governor, May Malabuni, has expressed the need for people, irrespective of their diverse backgrounds, to continue upholding the tenets of unity and religious tolerance as building blocks for a peaceful and prosperous Nigeria. The governor made the appeal during a parley with the Christian community in Yobe State. Yunus Suleiman completes the report.
These are members of the Christian Unity Forum from Zombi of Yobe State, drawn from different denominations, but united by the common goals of unity and religious harmony. Through various speakers, the forum commended the present administration in the state for running an inclusive government that saw the sponsorship of 16 Christian faithful for pilgrimage to the Holy Land, as well as the appointment of many others into various political offices.
Yobe State is peaceful because of the beautiful work we are doing.
We should protect both the indigenous and non-indigenous. We are all living peacefully. And the other thing that has been doing in the Christian community, where in the past 10 years, nobody has done that for us.
Governor May Malabuni, who appreciated the forum for having confidence in its leadership style, says the interaction is a justification to the fact that Yobe State is peaceful and that government will continue to leverage on this to provide more dividends of democracy to people in the state. He assures the faithful that all their challenges have been noted and will be given due considerations. The governor therefore donates the sum of 10 million naira to the forum with a call on members to continue to preach the gospel of unity, peaceful coexistence and religious tolerance in their various communities for the development of the state and the country. Intamatru, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
And your assistant in the Northeast as Abubakar in our Maiduguri Network Center will now give us more reports on Nationwide. It's over to you, Abubakar.
It's always nice to see you, Hawa, and thank you for joining us in Maiduguri. One of the success stories of return of displaced communities, civil authority and accelerated development is Magumeri Local Council in northern Borno that was once sacked and devastated at the peak of the Boko Haram insurgency. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, with the support of the council chairman Dr. Alilon Yaomi, have continued to provide basic social amenities and security, ensuring voluntary return to the area. Murjanat Hassan will now bring us more details of the story.
Magumeri Local Government Council was among the worst affected by the insurgency, where many fled the town, leaving it a shadow of itself. The state government initiated reconstruction, resettlement effort, and provision of civil authority would return normalcy, brought life back to the area. In addition to basic social amenities and public infrastructure, is the sustained execution of developmental projects cutting across all sectors. Inspecting ongoing and completed projects executed in the area by Governor Babagana Umar Zulum, the council chairman Dr. Alila Onyomi described the governor as committed to transformation of the area. He said the return of civil authorities in the area was made possible by the Zulum-led administration and has paved way to gradual return of peace as resistance. There was no government secondary school in the headquarters of the local government until it was recently established by Zulum administration.
One thing His Excellency have done over the years is to ensure that our people have gotten a means of livelihood. Not only the means of livelihood, but at least a sustainable means of livelihood. It's part of the economic drive that His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Zulum established a new ultra-modern market, where the local government council also complemented this effort.
As Magumeri rises again, the people are rallying around the administration for more dividends of democracy. Stakeholders of the area are grateful to Governor Babagana Umar Zulum for his tireless efforts and resettlement drive, which led to relocation of people back to their ancestral home. In Maiduguri, Murjanat Hassan, NTA News.
And still on issues that have to do with northern Borno, Borno State Government has expressed determination to recover, rehabilitate and return communities to Guzamala local government on the fringes of the Sahara Desert that saw much action between security forces and Boko Haram insurgents, leading to its liberation. To pave way for return of the displaced people and civil authority, Borno State High Committee on Resettlement of Guzamala and Meirari, led by Commissioner for Local Government Sugunmai Mele, has concluded an assessment visit to the communities ahead of reconstruction. Maimuna Garba has the rest of the story.
Udumbali town, known for livestock, poultry production and other agricultural practices, became ghost of itself after 4 years of desertion as a result of Boko Haram insurgency, which forced the people to take refuge in Gajiram, Mangunu, Gubio, Lamasak and Maiduguri. It was against this background, Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum inaugurated a 24-man committee to assess, reconstruct and resettle Gudumbari and Merari communities in Guzamala local government. Places assessed by the committee include Gudumbari Central Mosque, Government Lodge, General Hospital, Local Government Secretariat, schools and water facilities, among others, for possible return of civil authority. Chairman of the committee, Sugunmai Mele, promised to do everything possible to reopen the only local government headquarters to house officials when civil authority is established, and called on the people of the area to exercise patience as Governor Zulum is determined to rebuild Gudumbari.
We have also finished negotiation with the military that they promise us that they will go and establish a military base in Gudumbali so that those who are returning them back will be secured. Immediately when the rainfall is over, by September, we will move in to Gudumbali.
Members of the committee had stopped over at Kareto village in mobile local government as efforts are intensified for reconstruction and return of life to the community. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
And from northern Borno, we shall now take another commercial break on Nationwide. But Hawa in Abuja will be back with more stories for us thereafter.
Why should we be in a difficult situation financially?
Once upon a time we were rich, but we are not a rich country anymore.
Disaster management is everybody's business.
In all these times, the organization turned to Nigeria.
We would as much want to harness the capacity that is within us so that we see how we can become self-reliant.
1 month ended, I said, you are increasing warning strike by 2 months. I mean, you are incubating madness.
Even if these are officials of government who have been told to go and enforce the law and they have gone against the law itself, they must be held accountable.
One-on-one, Friday, 10:30.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, Go TV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
I'm fascinated with the discourse on national monuments and assets and how much is being done to preserve and celebrate
the language issue. We have turned English to become like a pride value in our own cultural values.
It's not cash transfer. It's not a COVID-19.
Immigration 1897 was a deliberate act.
Many of these people coming to the urban areas now.
These applications, there are terms and conditions.
Of course, it is the union of two people, a man and a woman coming together.
My name is Nambian People.
And I'm Elizabeth Omori. It's Nationwide. Thanks for rejoining us. The security matters known as the air components of Operation Wild Punch has conducted air interdiction missions against identified terrorist hideouts at Alhaji Isiaka and Kuduru in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State and in Borno State, inflicting casualties on the terror group. The strike, as revealed by relevant sources, were successful as 14 terrorists were eliminated, with several terrorists on bikes guiding rustled heads of cattle injured. Similar strikes were also carried out on the same day at Amchili and Gargash, both terrorist locations east of Maiduguri, with few surviving terrorists seen fleeing from the point of impact and hiding under nearby trees, which were subsequently attacked. And the Department of State Services, DSS, has denied media reports stating that the service abducts innocent Nigerians under the Buhari presidency. A statement by the DSS spokesman, Dr. Peter Afunanya, indicates that the service only arrests when necessary, evidently carried out in line with the tenets of democratic ideals. The statement adds that at no time has the service embarked on its actions without following procedures in respect of obtaining warrants of arrest or orders for detention from competent legal authorities. Similarly, the service urges the press to fact-check, otherwise those who run foul of the law must be ready to face justice. And the Nigerian Army, as one of the frontline security forces tackling insurgency, terrorism and banditry in the country, has continued to strengthen the physical fitness and combat readiness of operatives to counter security challenges facing the country. Oba Hyacinth reports that this is evident at the Army Interdivision Combat Company competition at the Godwin Alley Cantonment, Abuja, Cross River State.
The competition had contingents from 6 army divisions, including Army Headquarters Garrison, Abuja. Declaring the competition open, representative of the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Umali Joseph, said the competition will enhance operational readiness of troops in the fight against insurgency and other security challenges.
The Inter-Division Combat Orienteering Championship is the second of its kind in the Nigerian Army. Your effort in this competition will translate to relative ease in conduct of operations. Sweat more during peace, bleed less during war.
Other senior army officers highlighted the importance of the competition in preparing the army for its daunting task, fighting insecurity and influx of terrorists into the country.
It also saw 82 division liaising closely with state and federal institutions and establishments in Cross River State, all in a bid to ensure a successful hosting of the championship.
Competition like this, the officers say the Ali Cantonment Abuja, Oba Hyacinth, NTA.
And maintained by one comrade, Abdul Majid Gaudu, and others. A statement by the media advisor to the People's Redemption Party National Chairman Muhammad Ishaq recalled that the case challenged the must against his leadership. The court's ruling by Justice Mobolaji Olajuwon maintained that the case lacked merit, hence the purported vote of no confidence is illegal. Congress in Niger State to reconcile aggrieved members of the party who have split into various factions have yielded positive results, returning to the APC fold with aggrieved members withdrawing their petitions before the election tribunal. Musa Mikai reports.
The committee, headed by the Deputy Governor Ahmad Muhammad Kitu and the party's gubernatorial candidate Umar Muhammad Bagu, was set up with a view to reconciling aggrieved party members of the party as a result of the grievances that arose during and after primary elections, which led to the various factions within the party. The committee went round the 3 senatorial districts, giving each aggrieved member opportunity to air their grievances and also reconciling them. Most members agreed to shield their swords and also withdraw their suits from court, saying the party's supremacy supersedes that of individual. Dr. Mustafa Jibrin is one of the aggrieved members of the party who has voluntarily withdrawn his petition from the election tribunal.
In order for us to move forward, we need to let go of all that has happened in the past, put our heads together, identify the areas where a lot of things were done wrong, then reform the party, and then forge ahead. We have achieved almost 95% of the reconciliation. And what we did again, we set up a committee in each zone. To tell you, we are now a model to our APC as a party nationally, and everybody has been asked to key into what we are doing.
For most of the party members, they are hopeful that the exercise will bring to an end face off from the party. Musa Mikael, NTA News.
Reports from the African Union and the United Nations on illicit financial flows says Africa is non-losing. Consequently, they caution the continent to tread carefully on issues around consumption that do not have. Consequently, they caution the continent to tread carefully so that issues around consumption do not have.
The report now regards Africa as the next frontiers of tobacco markets. But there are fears it is losing more than leveraging its potentials, from which it can domestically finance its debts.
I think there are a number of things that I find very worrisome about tobacco in Africa. One of them is that it is growing in Africa, but out of money leaves Africa. It does not benefit the African people who grow and suffer growing that tobacco.
If you look at their contribution to our revenue, it's very minimal, but the damage they do is greater.
The 6 African nations famous in the cultivation of tobacco are the launch and dissemination of study reports on tobacco industry and illicit financial flows in Africa to talk about the implications on mental health, the African economy, and how government can use taxation in controlling consumption.
Really, the multinational companies themselves that are responsible for the production of tobacco products have a significant hold and influence on our own governments when it comes to the kind of taxes that they should be paying.
The economic rationale is simply financial flows reports of the AU and United Nations puts loss to over $88.6 billion between 2015 and the year 2022. The health burden of tobacco in Africa, the report says, is enormous and requires aggressive campaign before it gets too late. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
All in a bid to bounce back against the Black Galaxies of Ghana in the final round second leg of the 2023 Championship of African Nations CHAN qualifier comes Saturday at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Record that the coach Salisu Yusuf team lost 2-0 in the first leg encounter in Cape Coast.
So we're working towards the second back, we're working towards the attacking the finishing. And I believe that we'll get to that. I just want everyone to learn and everyone to have participated.
Looking forward to Sunday's final game against Ampenda Kwa Ladies of Ghana after walloping Espoir Ladies of Benin Republic 6-0 in the semi-final on Wednesday in Yamas. Mary Anjo ensure clean sheet for the Nigerian ladies so far in the series. The second edition of the tournament will be held between October and November 2022 in Morocco. The 8th edition of the National Judiciary Games in Lokoja, Kogi State. 36 states of the Federation and the FCT competed in the week-long games, which featured 12 sporting events including volleyball, athletics, tennis, basketball, football, among others.
There was that teamwork. Let us team together to have success.
Team Court of Appeal topped the medals table with 16 gold, 6 silver, and 4 bronze.
And sports wraps nationwide today. We thank you for being part of it. But remember, you can be a star if you partner with us in our campaign against rape and rapists. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. Good evening.
My name is Biko. And I'm Mana. And together we are Biko's Mana.
What is up, everyone?